Welcome everyone. I'm Jeffrey Goodman, Director of Marketing and Development for the YMCA of Northwest Louisiana, and we're here today for Shreveport-Bossier, my city, my community, my home. And our very special guest today is KaDavien Baylor. So KaDavien, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, it is, man.
Did I get that right? Pronunciation?
You got it right, and that's why I was smiling so big when we started. You know, we don't want to mess that up, right?
No, I don't want to botch that.
Okay.
All right, well, let's get in there. I warned you, my first question is massively long, possibly the longest question I've had yet. Just hang in there with me.
Special.
All right, so Pat Viser wrote a fantastic piece on you for 64 Parishes. I'd like to begin today with her first paragraph. KaDavien Baylor is best known as a public artist, a painter of large, brightly colored murals on Shreveport's Valencia Park and Recreation Center's Origin Court basketball court, along the brick wall of Galilee's Stewart-Belle Stadium in the Allendale community, inside Linwood Public Charter School, and on a fence outside a popular Uptown Bar and Lounge, to name a few. Baylor makes creativity work for him. To make change, to create hope, to heal communities, and to encourage investment and ownership. He has people talking about murals throughout Northwest Louisiana and what they can do to generate dialogue around a subject or community issue. His works inspire communities to create vibrant neighborhoods people want to visit, live in, and take care of. Neighborhoods that bring people together to celebrate heritage and history. That's pretty darn good, Pat. Now I want to move to a quote of yours. You once said, "I want to speak to the positive identity of Shreveport. We have a welcoming identity for all kinds of people." Talk to me, if you could, about this above quote, and from your perspective, what is our identity?
Well, first off, thanks, Pat Viser. Like, I tell her thank you all the time because she's like a magician with the words. How she put that article together, it just had me smiling from like ear to ear. And when I said that quote, it was because I highly believe in positive affirmations. I believe in the mind and the way that we can shape our beliefs and how our beliefs constitute our actions. And so as long as we continue to uphold the city in this positive light, we can continue to pour the positivity that we want to see in it, and we can make it happen. I believe in manifestation, and people just need hope, and that's the beauty and what I feel like I can bring to the community, not only in Shreveport, just being, not just through artwork, but by being, the best version of yourself. You can help everybody else become the best version of their self, and it's a domino effect. And the beauty of public art and doing public art in the city is that it's such a visible thing that people see it, and I hope that they are inspired by it to go and do the things that, whatever their version of their talent or whatever their special thing is, I hope it inspires them to go and do that. And all of that falls under the umbrella of what I feel like the identity of Shreveport can be, which is a positive place where our economy can grow and it can be fun, and our older generation will want to just be happy here, and just the younger generation will want to be happy here and not want to run off to the rest of the nation. I feel like we are in control of that. So.
And I warned you, my second question is quite long too. So in speaking about some of the ways our community has been governed in the past, Councilwoman Levette Fuller recently wrote, "It puts distance between government and citizens and makes participation intimidating. It makes mediocrity satisfying. It has led to a malaise and apathy because we assert this is just the way things are.
Mm-hmm.
In preparing for today, I came across another quote of yours that almost offers a solution to this community apathy.
Mm-hmm.
You said, public art allows people to take ownership in their community.
Mm-hmm.
When they feel like they've added or contributed to their community in a creative way, it makes them more proud of it. That's why we take this approach. Talk to me about your above quote and tell me a little bit about your process of creating public art and your beliefs around how public art can lead to greater community engagement.
Well, my quote stems from, I've done public art on multiple levels. So working with schools is like really where I started. So you read off Linwood Public Charter School, Pat wrote about that. And that was when I really started to see, of course, working with kids in general is fun because they don't have the limitations placed on their minds about what can happen and what's possible. So working with them is incredible, and you get them in a space of creation and creativity, and that's when it goes to another level. They can say, hey, this is an idea, and you let their ideas flourish, and that allows things to involve their participation and their ownership, and they feel like, hey, I did that when they walk past it. It's beautiful, and that's the standard way that those kind of projects work within the schools when you get the students involved. But it also works on a larger scale. It works in a community format as well. So we just finished a project called From Shreveport with Love downtown Shreveport on the side of the Anglin D law firm building. And it allowed for community participation in a poll in which asked citizens what entities and what cultural events would you like to highlight inside of the mural. So inside of each letter of the mural, inside of each letter of Shreveport, we were able to highlight an entity that represents the city and brings life and entertainment and love to our community. And that's really beautiful, and I think it allows the community to feel a sense of ownership and involvement and celebration about what's here and what's to brag on in their city. And people need to feel good about where they live. Like, I want to feel good about being here. I don't like being here and always, in the past I've definitely thought, I have other opportunities. I can go other places. I can be in Dallas, I could be in Houston, I could be in New York, I could be in LA, I could a different country, celebrating and participating in the arts for different communities. But the more I meditate and pray on it, I feel like I'm being drawn to being here and bringing more of my energy and what I can bring from the universe into my work out into the city, and just continuing to make it a more prosperous and eventful and fun and creative journey. So that's really what I'm tapped into right now.
And you are.
Thank you.
So I'd like to stick with quotes of yours I came across because I found so many great ones. So another thing you once said is our people need to see diversity, inclusion, and how community can come together and make things stronger and better and have a more powerful impact.
Yeah.
Talk to me more about what you meant with that quote.
I believe in the celebration of individuality. Like, you have something inside of you that's so magical and powerful. You're leading this show and bringing so many incredible people together. I think that is your role, and whatever you're doing is special. It's going to have a really beautiful outcome. And I'm so glad that you're doing that, because that's what you're here to do. And I'm here doing what I'm supposed to do. Everybody, the people on the treadmill out in the gym, they're doing what they're supposed to do. As long as everybody's celebrating their individuality, we aren't in a stagnant position, and we can continue to grow, and the consciousness of everyone can continue to move forward, and we could celebrate a positive existence. That's what I believe in.
All right, let's move to yet another quote of yours.
Let's do it. I didn't realize I had that many quotes.
You once said, Shreveport is a blank canvas with a lot of people who need help.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that.
Blank canvas in that there are a lot of walls in Shreveport, a lot of opportunities to create, whether that's from art to economic opportunities or to educational opportunities. It's a blank canvas, and we think about the people that need help. Most of the time it's economic and educational or spiritually, or they need hope. And I just try to fill those gaps, and I want to continue to fill those gaps through what's been given to me, which is art. And you will fill those gaps in whatever has been given to you, and so on. But I believe this is a life in which we should help one another. It's like I feel empty, man, when I'm not helping someone. It gives you a sense of purpose, and it gives you a sense of fulfillment that I think pours over to other areas of your life. And I think that it's a full circle thing. Not only that you should be giving so you can receive, but just give because it feels good, and because that's what we should be doing, the right things. Yeah.
All right, so anyone that's seen your art should know, or probably can tell, that butterflies factor heavily in your murals.
Mm-hmm.
I've read that they represent our community's beauty and potential.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at this community, what do you see as our great potential?
More than anything, it's the idea of butterflies symbolizing metamorphosis, and the idea of transformation, constantly growing and getting better. That's what all cities, I think everywhere, there's a sense of quality, focusing on bettering quality, and that comes with, of course, economic opportunities and all those other things. But I think hope and spirituality play deeply into the role of how those things can happen. And butterflies are just beautiful, man. You look at other cities, and usually they have some sort of representational, like animal or something like that. And Shreveport doesn't really have one of those. And as I started on my journey, butterflies kept showing up on my sites, especially Valencia Court, over there by Cattle Magnet High. We painted butterflies in the city. That's one of the first pieces we painted, butterflies in the center of the court. Myself and Ben Moss and students from Cattle Magnet High, and there are two hands reaching for the butterflies, and it's all about constantly reaching towards transformation and ascension, a greater version of self. And I believe that that's what the communities want, and they'll continue to strive and get better and become stronger and more unified as they continue to reach for something higher and greater.
Love it. All right, KaDavien, we're flying through this. I'm down to my final question with you, but I'm back to Pat Viser. So,
Nice.
In the wonderful article she wrote about you, you said, art in public spaces reflects and reveals our society, enhances meaning in our civic areas, and adds uniqueness to our communities. I have been honored to work on several projects that I believe have started transformation within our local communities. I hope to continue to work with public art that heals communities through the creation of landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
My question for you is, what does the transformation in our communities that has begun to take shape look and feel like? And describe in an ideal world what this community's ultimate transformation looks and feels like.
Wow. Man, I'm not going to sit up here and say a utopian society, because I don't know. That's kind of like, I don't know. But one example of that quote is the Stewart-Belle Stadium project, in which we got to create and celebrate African American history in Allendale and Lakeside community. And Galilee is a historical landmark in itself, but there's an old baseball field into which had a 400-foot wall, into which I was invited to help be artist hand on the project. And there were 5 artists, and we sat down around a table and we documented history, and we laid out how the artwork would be and what it would speak to. And we wanted to celebrate history in a way that it hadn't been celebrated and do it through public art. And it came out beautiful, man. But the most beautiful thing about every project that I'm a part of is the process. It's always the process. It's never just what's happening. Well, sometimes it's what's happening after too. But, you know, it's more than what we expect every time, and that people from the community come out and they tell you how much they appreciate what you're doing. And that just is always satisfying to let you know that you're helping people celebrate their history in a way that hasn't been celebrated, and quite frankly, in a world, in a position in time where a lot of history has been erased or overlooked or not properly maintained. So to be a part of that was really glorifying, and not only glorifying in that we got to do that, but in relation to what you said, you know, it provides that thing that people need to be attached to their history. It does something for people to be attached to where they come from and what's come before them. So that's what that project was able to do. And I know that since then, you know, there's a retirement home not a retirement home, but an apartment complex across the street from it, but people have lived there for a very long time. And the wall was just blank at first. Now they get to see this beautiful mural across the street every day. And they told me that it's made like tremendous impact on just their existence. They don't have to sit up and look at a blank wall every day. Now they can look at something that's like reminds them of how beautiful our existence is and how lucky we are to be alive. Like, people need that. And it's easy I think where we're at as a society, it's easy to forget about the beauty of just the basics of life. So what was the second part of that question?
And what were our ultimate, so that's an example of how that particular installation transformed that community. But what potentially, just I look at you as a visionary, you know, what potentially could this entire community transform into?
Dang, it could be I mean, I don't want to sound too generic, but it could be whatever it needs to be for everybody. I don't know what everybody needs, but I know, you know, for me personally, I know I just want to see people be happy. I want to see people be comfortable with themselves and comfortable helping each other, and just trying to make it the best situation for everyone, being empathetic for everyone. I want everybody to be happy, but I've never seen that in the world, so I guess that's, you know, that may be unrealistic, but we can always strive for it to happen. You know, we can strive for it, and that in turn will yield better results.
I'm curious, you know, you read about you or see your art, and within seconds it's clear that you have a real sense of appreciation for history.
Right.
Like, where'd that come from? Like, why is, because I think we live in a world where so many people reject history, think, you know, the world of their parents or their grandparents was wrong,
right.
And all that's important is what is in the here and now. So where did this appreciation for looking back come from when so many people only look forward or look at the here and now?
I guess like curiosity about where we're going as human beings, where we're going, and the best way to predict that is to study history. But even before that, it was like, okay, I've got this gift of art. How can I make the best use of it? How have people used it in the past, even from the beginning of time? Ancient civilizations, Egyptian civilizations, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, they used art to celebrate wars that have been won, or the celebration of a new leadership in their civilizations, or, you know, to document time and document what's happened before, or their beliefs and their moral codes. Those were uses of art in the past, and I just wanted to stay tapped into like what's most central to human existence as possible, but continue to attach it to a more modern format so that, you know, it's not boring. I don't want to sit up and do like the boring things. I still want to create at a high level that's something that's attractive and beautiful for people to see, and so it's the combination of those two things that are my practice now. But that's my appreciation for history, learning about, you know, the shoulders that we stand on and how we could use it to better grow in the future.
Well, this community is so lucky to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else? I mean, those were my questions, but I'm happy to stay here forever with you and just talk. Is there anything else you'd like to share, or you'd like to say, or?
I think, I appreciate your questions a lot. A lot of what I'm doing is not planned. I don't sit up and just schedule out or plan out what I'm going to do. It's been interesting. My time in Shreveport, I've only been back since November 21. November 2020. Because I think I did my first mural at 1533 Marshall Street, November 2020. And I haven't planned anything since then, except for the Greater Shreveport Chamber of Commerce underpass project. That took about a year to put into play, but that was because of weather and we delayed it a few times. But everything has really been a magical journey, and that's what's built my faith on sticking around and continuing to see what it could be. So I'm hoping that people like you and me and all the people you've interviewed continue to live a faith-filled journey and continue to just build upon what's available to us. That's it.
Thanks, KaDavien.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
We'll stay friends.
All right. I did it right. That's awesome.